Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to SynthWorld. I'm your host, DJ Nomad, and I'm thrilled to have our first truly official, like drum and bass jungle kind of artist. So it's really exciting to have you. This is going to be Gabriel, aka JumpGlxtch. Gabriel, thanks for
Thank you,
being
man.
here, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've gone on the JumpGlxtch train like
Yeah.
recently, like maybe within the last like 6 months or so I found your music. But I know you're, at least your releases on Bandcamp haven't been super long. You have really, as far as I can tell, hit the scene running very fast.
I'm trying, man. I mean, yeah, and it's been since 2023, late 2023. I just started it, and my prior experience is mostly metal music, so I did a lot of touring in that scene and everything, but I really wanted to get into something that got to a point of I can be self-sufficient without having to have band members, stuff like that. And then it just turned into something I just do every day now.
Oh, well, I can tell,
Yeah.
following your social media, how often you're posting and like
Yeah.
yeah, just how much you've pumped out in these last like 2 years or so. It's really impressive, honestly. So,
Thank you, man.
yeah, yeah, and I'm excited to dive into all that. Very cool to hear about the metal background. That's
Yeah.
actually with more artists than you'd think in the scene that happens.
Oh yeah.
But I want to put you on the map, get Synth World listeners an idea of where you are. So I
Yeah.
believe you said Lancaster, California. Is that Southern California?
Yeah, Southern California. It's a little desert town, about I want to say 40 miles north of Los Angeles.
Okay, cool. So is
Yeah.
there much of a, I'm gonna guess this is probably a no, but is there much of a, drum and bass jungle scene there?
Not really. So, okay, I feel like a few years back, maybe like 10 years back, there was because someone I knew had a few friends who would throw, little raves inside bars and stuff like that. And they'd have not necessarily drum and bass, but a lot of jungle and house music. So, yeah, I knew there was something going on lately. I'm not too sure.
You've been keeping your head pretty down on, on the
Yeah,
computer and the synthesizers.
staying busy, man.
Well, good to hear. Good to hear. So let's dive in, and we've got so much to ground to cover, even given just the short window with which you've been releasing music.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of get to pull, reel you back, if you will, flash us back to kind of the beginning of your history with music in general. So
Yeah.
do you have it by chance remember like a memory or two that you really where you kind of connected with and fell in love with music?
I always listened to my mom's tapes and CDs. Like I was raised off of stuff like Korn, Limp Bizkit, Eminem, Dr. Dre, stuff like that. So I was really into music back then, and that's what took me back. Like my first CD was Back in Black by AC/DC. So
Awesome. Very
when
cool.
I was like 6 years old, and got that from Walmart. And I've just been into music ever since. I started playing guitar, so guitar kind of like opened up so many doors for me. You know what I mean? So that was kind of where I got started with music. I used to actually tour in bands and stuff like that. But like I had my own band. It was more like I'm sure you know what like Tech Death is. It was a Tech Death band,
I've
so
heard of
kind
it.
of like
Yep.
kind of stuff like that with a little bit of like I don't know death metal influence. So yeah, I mean when I came out making music, I was mostly making thrash metal and like death metal. You know what I mean? I also tried making like electronic music in like 2011. Man, I had a virtual DJ and I would always chop up songs and try to make mix matches. This is when who was it? Skrillex was like super popular at the time.
Sure.
Skrillex, Pendulum, Porter Robinson, all them. Yeah, so like I've been trying to make music since I started playing guitar. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I love it. I love it. It sounds like you were ahead of the mashup game a little bit there, because like, now it seems like the last few. I don't really love that stuff, but like it seems like the
yeah.
last few years that has just started to dominate some of the
Oh
scene.
yeah,
So let's get into Jump Glitch.
yeah,
The
definitely.
name definitely alludes to, a gamer past at minimum, but probably a present and future.
So it was kind of an on the spot name to believe it or not. So basically, I was playing a video game with someone, and in the video game, they have like houses and stuff. And there was this thing where it's called a jump glitch, where you jump and you hit this little thing, and it shoots you up to a different floor of the house that they have. And I was like, it's actually kind of a cool name. And I was because I was thinking of I spent days thinking of like different names for the project I was doing for when I was doing my first release, my first three songs. And that just out of nowhere, I was like, JumpGlxtch, you know what? It's kind of quirky. It'll work. So I just kind of went with that.
Oh, I love the name. I think it's fantastic. And I mean the fact that you lean so heavily into the video game references and influences and just sound in general,
Yeah.
it's perfect. So, do you remember what game that was, by the way?
Yeah, it was actually Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you still gaming now? What are you playing on?
I game, but I mostly game for influence or inspiration a lot of the time, or I also game to get like clips for my TikToks and stuff like that. But lately, personal gaming that has nothing to do with my music content. I mostly play. Right now, I'm playing Persona 5. It's a pretty cool one. I mean, I'm a few years late on it, but it's fun.
So now, speaking of drum and bass and jungle, do you recall any like specific artists or friends or whatever who really got you into that music? Like, how did you stumble upon this style?
So back to the 2011 Skrillex thing. I used to, get music a certain way back in the day. So that being said, I found a lot of what do you call it? Liquid drum and bass,
Mhm.
like compilations. And so that was my introduction to true drum and bass was the Liquid Bass UKF compilations back in like 2011, and I really liked it. It was just a vibe, and they also had another thing that people also reference because a lot of people where I live don't really know about drum and bass or jungle is they say the Powerpuff Girls theme song. That's what it sounds like because it has a little like breakbeat part in the middle of it. So people always tell me that's what my music sounds like. So I mean, and in video games, video games has always had drum and bass, like some sort of jungle influence that like it's not necessarily traditional, but it's got the feel. So that's what I try to go off of. You know what I mean? But yeah, Liquid Drum and Bass, Camo and Crooked, a few others. I can't. Netsky was a pretty good one too. I can't remember the exact ones from back in the day that I listened to, but that's how I got introduced to it. Same with Pendulum, like Tarantula by Pendulum. That was a huge influence in why I wanted to make drum and bass.
I do want to dive into how you got into like production itself. Like, so how did you, like actually get a computer, a DAW? How did
So
that start?
like it's kind of a long history of attempts, you know what I mean? So back in like 2013, I had a laptop. It was actually my mom's old laptop. And I got yeah, it was my mom's old laptop. And I got FL Studio on it, like a
Mhm.
like a crack
Nice.
version or whatever they call it. But they I was just making drum tracks for the technical death metal band I was in. So I usually just started to make drum tracks. And we did it for a while and we had some pretty good drum tracks, but once all that went away, I didn't start producing again until like 2020 during COVID. I got Audacity and I didn't know how MIDI worked really on other things other than FL Studio. So I was using my acoustic guitar and I was like beating on my acoustic guitar for the beats and doing like, like Operation Ivy covers and stuff like that. Like, so that was my experimentation with actually producing. And then fast forward to 2021, I started my whole little reggae project and I was just learning how to produce. And that went on for the whole Del Flow project up until 2023, where I'm like, I want to dive into something like, fast paced, something that I don't have to rap on or anything like that. So that's where drum and bass came out. And, you know, it's a whole new world and it's very humbling when it comes to production because it's a whole different ball game of well, just electronic music in general is a whole different ball game of production than trying to make my own hip hop stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Oh,
so it's just I got into it just over time.
just to touch a little bit on like your style for listeners. I mean, they'll be getting a good heavy dose of your music through the show,
Yeah,
but yeah, you definitely have. I mean, I've heard a couple of other artists in that scene that are sort of similar in the style, but you're definitely very unique in the sense that like yeah, the games have that that the mu or shit, the music has that like the downhill racing game feel for a lot of them. Although you go
thanks,
elsewhere,
man.
I want to
Yeah,
touch on that. But then the that and the breakbeat drums like feel very separated from each other in a cool way. And I think a lot of that is maybe the reverb you're using. That's like space you're creating. It just most of your tracks feel very like spacey and open and airy. And
nice. I'm glad.
I love that. I love artists that are like that, and artists not in the same scene at all, but another artist named Orograph, who
Okay.
really talented artist. Same thing, like it feels very like you're in like the giant like space, right? Like you're in this, you're I don't know, you're zooming through JumpGlxtch's like universe. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if
right.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. And I love
No, I
that.
totally know what you mean. It really, when I think about it, like in retrospect, it's more of like I took like here, chop up drum breaks and do drum and bass beats and just do whatever you want on top of it. You know what I mean? As long as it stays in time. Because I've always like, especially when I started, I was like, I really want to make drum and bass, but then I'll think I'm making like a really good drum and bass song or a jungle song, and I compare it to like traditional drum and bass because like we talked about earlier, it's a whole different art form with drum and bass. You know what I mean? They even have like they have the DNB Academy, all that stuff. So
Oh, I've
so
never heard of that.
oh
That's cool though.
yeah, no, it's a whole thing. The DNB Academy, I actually learned a lot from their YouTube channel, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of I take an idea and I just kind of like make what I make out of it. You know what I mean? Like there's even some songs that I do a little slower, but I just haven't felt the time to release them yet because I, like you said, I have that like downhill racing feel, or like something that has been brought to me is like I have like that Adult Swim feel, like the bumper feel, like in between shows and stuff like that, and that's something
Yeah.
that really means a lot to me because when I was a kid, like that was like what I watched. Like Cartoon Network would end, and I'd stay up like watching my TV, and I'd be like 4 or 5 years old, and like Cowboy Bebop would come on, or like Aqua Teen Hunger Force stuff like that. So like I really like dig that spacey like early 2000s Y2K feeling, but not so
Yeah.
because
Totally.
there's a lot of things associated with the Y2K genre, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of it that's like the jet set radio kind of techno stuff or like funky stuff, and then you have like the jungle and stuff like that, and the jungle is where I resonate more because I really love breakbeats, to be honest. That's really a huge thing. I love breakbeats, like, and to make them fast, it's like it's perfect.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
and I couldn't agree more. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love some of the like more like dream poppy stuff that was in the Y2K era,
yeah, of
but
course.
the best of it is what you're talking about, the drum and bass and like the acid house and like
Oh yeah.
the rave style music. Oh man, I've been leaning into that a lot lately. So I'm glad to hear it. And I mentioned that universe. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're floating through this universe and whatever song video game or theme you've picked is kind of like playing around you. I mean, I don't know, that's how I view a lot of the music. I see it very visually while I'm listening to it. So,
Yeah, thanks, man.
yeah,
No, it
yeah.
actually means a lot that there's like an actual like glue to it rather than it just being, oh, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that. Like you actually feel the universe that is the jump glitch sound. So I appreciate that a lot.
I'm just curious, like, what part of why do you think you're so drawn to this music? Like, what part of you does this express?
Honestly, it's it puts a smile on my face, really, man. So like if something like when it really like, like build up stuff like that, like it really kicks in. Like for example, like if you hear like certain songs I do where like I have like a break kick in, like slowly fade in and then it starts kicking in, like that stuff just gets me going because, like I've always been a performer with guitar and stuff like that. So hearing things that I feel like if that were played on guitar live, like I'm like, oh man, or like played that live with the drums going crazy, like it really keeps me drawn in the chaos to it, really. Because I've always been like very chaotic with my writing of music. Like, I mean, like you said, there is ambience, but you can still tell in the drums and some of like the melodies in the ambience, there's a lot of chaos to it. But it also it's a way of venting without having to put it in words. You can like for there's that song It Never Changes, which is like probably like the only song that I don't really use on anything, but that song, like that's like a pure personification of like how I was feeling at the time. I was going through a rough time, but like when I listen to it, I feel what I was feeling at that time.
Mhm.
So a lot of it is like personification of like what's coming out of how I'm feeling. Because I deal with anxiety sometimes and stuff like that. So it's good to have like fast paced stuff to really exert that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Let that out and let you connect with it in a way that's not unhealthy. There's so many of your songs where it's like you either have samples from like video games, or you
Mm-hmm.
can tell that there's like maybe a game in particular that maybe influenced the song and kind of the direction you went. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what do you feel like? I love it, but what do you feel like kind of incorporating that brings to your music?
So something that like a theme that I kind of have and why I kind of like have like a lot of droning background melodies and ambience is I like something I'm kind of into is like liminal space. It's kind of like a thing that I'm seeing on TikTok and Instagram, like just kind of empty rooms, kind of like that ant like in the middle, like you know what I mean?
You talking
So
about the
like
ones with like the pools in them and stuff like that, and
yeah, just like something really liminal, kind of like nostalgic, but also kind of like empty, you know what I mean? Like you'll see like
yeah.
old like abandoned buildings that have or office buildings, but they have like a light on and it's like empty. It's almost kind of like spooky, I guess, but I try to keep it
Yeah.
just like so like for example, the most samples I use are conversations from either video games or movies. So like I
Hmm.
like the conversations during the break of a song because it kind of like keeps like that like you're just in that moment, you know what I mean? So like you're not like waiting for the next part, you're not still in the part before, you're just like at this relaxed. So like in the song I'm releasing tonight, it's called Gravity Race 2001. It's like heavily influenced by like the game Wipeout and stuff like that. So
Oh,
what
nice.
the so yeah, I try to bring like a lot of influence from games in there because it also helps with making videos for the games. I mean, not for the games, for like TikTok and stuff. I can use like, okay, so this is the feeling I'm trying to convey. So people will see the video of what I feel, and then they will feel the same thing because they're interpreting it how I, put it out there to be interpreted. I just really enjoy that era because it's really good. But my whole point with the sample thing is I don't really use too many game samples except for like sonic rings and stuff like that. That's a huge thing I use is the sonic ring
Yeah.
sounds. I use it in a couple songs. But for example, once again back to the UK thing, like the song "The Diamonds," which is very heavily influenced by like Gran Turismo. And a huge thing with that song is I have a sample during the break of it that's a conversation with Boris the Blade from the movie Snatch. And the movie Snatch also like Goldie, the one of the founders of drum and bass, well, one of the originators, he's in that movie. And so that whole movie always had like that cool feel to it. And that's how early drum and bass has always felt to me. So I use a lot of samples from like early era movies like that, like Snatch. I also have Grand Theft Auto samples, different samples from this and that. And what I think it adds to it really is it adds just like that character to where you can just like relax for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it makes the whole theme of your music so cohesive. No, I made me think of, have you seen any of those videos? I've seen them on Instagram where it's like, it's probably made in like Blender or something like that
Mm-hmm.
potentially. Or like it's
Yeah,
like, it's like tile floors with like pools in it and like,
that's exactly what I'm talking about with the liminal stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. Like,
I
yeah,
love that. And I mean, let me know if you disconnect. To me, it feels like some of what's so appealing about that is that it's kind of a combination of like deep nostalgia and like some sort of like horror element to it as well. Like kind of
exactly,
it's kind of a dystopic feel about being nostalgic about that time. And like
exactly.
and kind of, being lost, stuck in the past. I mean, I love the contradiction between a lot of those things. So does that feel like that to you?
No, 100%. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say earlier. I just couldn't figure out how to say it correctly, but that's exactly what it is. It's like a dark nostalgia. It's a nostalgia that's unsettling, but it's also comforting because it reminds you of what was. Because a lot of those times when they
Right.
make those in Blender or you see a picture of that, it's something from the past that is no longer there, basically. It's
Yep.
a like for example, they have that Sega store that's like completely abandoned and it still has all the Sonic stuff in it. Yeah, like kind of like that. So like, but more ambient.
More ambient
Like for
and
example, a huge influence for like dark ambience that I like, especially like the song Mitochondria, is like Parasite Eve. That's a huge influence on that. And like
oh
Silent
yeah.
Hill games. I love the ambience of Silent Hill. It's dark, but it's still like a vibe, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I had a huge influence from like Final Fantasy X and Chrono Cross. Yeah, Chrono Cross, not Chrono Trigger. Um,
Never heard of that one before. Okay. Chroma
yeah, it's a
Cross?
PS1 game, and it's very much it's like a sequel to the game Chrono Trigger, and it's very much like Final Fantasy. You have a whole team of four people, but there's like so many characters. But the whole point is the ambience, the beach to it, like the whole game, even the soundtrack itself, it's got this ambience that you could tell, like, oh yeah, I could throw a break beat over this.
What's your preference on analog versus VST?
Well, to be honest, I'd have to say VST because I don't really have too much. I don't really have too much analog. So
Yeah.
I have pretty much my well, my DAW. I use Studio One 7. The reason I use Studio One 7, it was introduced to me
What's
by
that?
it's a DAW by PreSonus. You ever heard of PreSonus?
I think I've heard that name, but I've never heard that dog. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, so it was introduced to me by my old guitarist from a band I was in called Scream at the Sky. He had Studio One, and I got the. I was like, okay, this seems cool. So I used the free version, and then I had a friend who hooked me up with the pro version for a while, and then I finally just got the most recent upgraded version myself. The reason I like it is because just the VSTs and the plugins it has, like you can mix and master a whole song in just one session if you wanted to, if your PC was strong enough. It,
Oh,
it, it
wow.
comes with a lot of good stuff, and the stock instruments are actually really good. A lot of my stuff I did with a lot of stock instruments on there. That being said, when it comes to the gear, I have an MPC MPK Mini, which is just a little half-size keyboard. I
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
MPC
Those are cool.
Studio, which is what I do my videos on. To me, it was the best thing to happen to the game for Studio One because the amount of ambient pads you can create with just Deep Flight One or Cinema Lights. Deep Flight One, I will say, is one of my favorite ones right now. Same with the UAD morphing synth, Universal Audio morphing synth. That's what most of my pads from last year. That's what most of those were made on was the morphing synth. I also like,
Get some good versatility out of that. That's cool.
yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think. So the other plugin, I like that Motion Dimension one, the one I used overused on Flora, I should say. but so I really like that one. That's a good plugin. It's just a reverb, but it's a custom reverb to where you can basically customize where you bounce the different reverbs and different wets and dries to, like as it goes, like automation, basically.
You can automate to different points on that spectrum, if you will.
Exactly. So I like that. I also like the 1176 UAD limiter compressor because that of all the limiting compressors I've used, it basically has the cleanest sound when with boosts because usually other ones I feel when you're boosting the ins and the outs, it distorts as it gets louder as to where with my 1176 that I use. And honestly, I could be using it wrong, but the way I like using it, it really makes everything pretty clean.
So I want to talk to you about, so all of this is like, really, truthfully, is surrounding the years of like 1996 to like 2002, 2003,
Yeah.
that whole era. And I just, you know, I like to call our generation. How old are you, by the way?
29, born 96.
29. Okay, yeah. So you're just a few years younger than me. Um, I like to call our generation nostalgia. What if there's one like trend from that era that you could bring back? What would it be?
That's a tough one. I guess one thing that I wish they would bring back. I mean, they kind of have. I mean, TikTok's brought everything back, but but I would say I don't know. Like, I really liked the baggy pants with like the straps on them and stuff like that. Like
Oh yeah.
Jankos too. Jankos would be cool if everyone got started wearing those again.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, you would love my partner Noah, man. He's all about that those baggy pants,
Oh
baggy
yeah.
clothes. Yeah, hell yeah, I dig that. Jankos
Thanks,
would be
man.
cool too, though. You're right.
Yeah, it's cool stuff, man.
And I think we've already kind of touched on how you've evolved over this time. So I want to just give you a moment to talk about your last few releases again. So like Toonami, I love that.
Thanks, man.
The Exodia proxy card was really cool to listen to. And then obviously the Mist two-song, I don't know what you call that. What's a two-song thing called? Not a single. I don't know if
I
that's
think
it.
it's still just called the single.
It's not a single.
It's not really an EP.
No, no, and they both flow well together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you feel like, I guess, how about this? How do you feel like things have started to come together for you recently with your music? And then what can listeners expect kind of going forward?
So really, lately, from the things I have planned, I should say, it's definitely formed into more of like a consistent version of racing music. And also, I have a few on the backlog that I want to release that are in the chill way, but it's really a lot of like I don't know, I want to call it like Y2K Rally DNB. It's like racing music, but like space racing music. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
necessarily like racing cars. It's more like racing intergalactically
It,
kind of
it it
stuff.
probably sounds like some of the stuff from some of the Star Wars racing games. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do remember
I,
those. I
I'm
do
pretty
remember
sure those
those.
had a very like future spacey kind of sound to them, if I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
mistaken.
definitely.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I could go on for days about all these awesome artists that do the same thing. But
Yeah.
and when I say the same thing, I mean keep the essence alive of the Y2K. Yeah, I mean that's all I could really ask for is like, just keeping that essence alive, you know what I mean?
Speaking of the essence, I want to mention to our listeners, and by the way, to SynthWorld listeners, it's JumpGlitch, JumpGlxtch, just so
Yep.
you know how it's spelled. If you try to type JumpGlitch normally, you're probably not going to find him.
Nope.
But Gabriel has some really cool live streams that he's done, and like just kind of songs that you've done where you have graphics on screen, and I love how you've done that. So it all makes me wonder whether there's any ambition to do live performances.
Yeah, no, there's 100% ambition to do live performances. That's why I'm also like I'm sure you've seen I post the finger drumming videos. So that's something
Yep.
I could really do because that's really inspired by this guy named Spin Scott. And he's like one of the top finger drummers for jungle. He's like mostly that's what he's known for is like finger drumming jungle and footwork and stuff like that. He's crazy with it.
Yeah.
And that's what I aspired to do for live shows. Like I mean I DJ sometimes, but it's hard to put my music with like more traditional styles of music, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to find my way of trying to figure out um, what a similar artist as me to DJ with my music, but that's how I want to perform live is electronic with either my beat pad or DJ controller or both. I could do both.
Well, man, I feel like I appreciate your time. I feel like I could chat with you for another hour or two, honestly. But I'm at the end of my questions, and
Yeah.
more importantly, I want to make sure that I direct Synthworld listeners to more of your music, and yourself in general. So, what button combo do Synthworld listeners need to hit to really jump glitch into their future?
With button combo, like, is this a literal question?
If
Got
you've
my
thought
mind on
of
the video
one,
games.
what
Yeah,
you
you could
could
do the
do.
contra code up, down, left, right, left, right.
You should do. I'm sure you've seen guys do this. You should get one of those like a PS1 controller and map like effects for your live show onto a controller.
Oh, see, man, that'd be pretty. That's some
Sick,
that's
right?
some
I'm thinking
deep
about
tech
getting one.
stuff right there.
You can do it. I'm thinking about getting one of those power glove things and doing
Oh,
the
that would
same
be
thing for
sweet.
our live shows where I'm pressing buttons on the power glove and it's doing effects through the controller.
That'd
Like
be pretty sweet.
you can do it. You just got to put some time into it. So, we're on a similar wavelength, but yeah, tell us
Yeah.
where how do we get into your world?
So you can get into my world anywhere, really. So Instagram has all my link tree stuff. So you can find everything on my link tree. So you can find my TikTok, my Bandcamp, my Spotify, pretty much Apple Music, any of that. So you can find my stuff anywhere. The best place to find it, in my opinion, would be Spotify because I'm kind of bad at YouTube. So I don't have everything on YouTube yet. Same with Bandcamp. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's just I'm just so used to using DistroKid and just releasing. So I'm like, okay, I got it. Because Bandcamp, YouTube, got to do it all separately. But yeah, Spotify would be the easiest place to find it because everything goes there directly. So,
Sure.
but if you want a button code, square, square, circle, circle, triangle.
Is that like a GTA cheat
That's the
code?
code to get into my PS5.
Oh, okay, nice, nice. Oh, okay. Well, now you've got his code. Now you just got to figure out where Gabriel lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Well, it's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah, definitely, man.
I would happy to have you on again, catch up on maybe a new release. Sounds like you've got a lot of stuff coming. So
Oh, yeah.
Synthwave listeners, keep your eyes tuned. I know you also have an Instagram where you announce things and put stuff out
Yep.
too. So don't forget that. And hey, get your YouTube. I don't use Spotify, so get your YouTube and Bandcamp updated. I want to see whatever stuff that's not on there. I want to hear it. So
I got you, man. I'll do it tonight.
yeah. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate your time. That was Gabriel, aka JumpGlitch, JumpGlxtch. Don't forget that spelling. You're gonna need that. Gabriel, do you have any final words for the listeners before you go?
Thanks for having me on. And I hope you guys really enjoy my music. I hope you guys understand the Y2K vibe and hope it really expands. And I hope you guys can find other artists like me to enjoy in the community.
Absolutely. And I will make sure that they do. So tune in. We'll have a pretty heated episode of drum and bass. I mean, I might just do all drum and bass jungle for that episode. So
Nice.
keep it
Sounds good, man.
alive. Yeah, thanks again for your time, and till I see you next time, stay retro.
Yes, sir. Have a good day, man.